Hacksaw. 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour. 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we are back for another episode of the Hacksaw Hour. And of course, I am joined by the Hall of Famer, the legend, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jim, what's going on, my friend?
Well, hello, Marcus.
Oh, wow.
You know, now it's football season, so I'd like to cut a NFL football player interview like, I had a good game, you had a good game. I hope I have a good game next week. That doesn't work in wrestling. If you're going to be a wrestler, you're going to say what you're going to do, who you're going to do it to, and what time the show starts. So, Marcus, give me a hoe, young man.
Let's do it, Jim.
Ho! Your hoes are getting better and better, I'll tell you. Back in the day, I used to hoe all the time, brother. I mean, I'd hoe in New York, I'd hoe in New Orleans. I was hoeing all over the world. I don't hoe as much as I used to.
Well, that's probably a good thing. Well, look, we're opening up the mailbag again this week, Jim, to take some fan questions. And, brother, they showed up for you. I'm excited to dig into these.
Well, look forward to it. Always, yeah, that's why I enjoy the Comic-Cons and stuff. I enjoy talking with the fans.
Well, they brought some great ones this week. So without any further ado, we can launch in. We've got a wrestling historian right now. He's actually got two questions. The first one is, have you thought about writing a second book?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, but it's because it was a different. It's a couple of chair shots. My lips don't work like they're supposed to.
That's easy for you to say, Jim.
yeah. No, I have, because that was a certain point in my life I wrote through, and it was a different point. Now at the second, because it's a full circle. That's what I wanted to call. I thought about a title, the Circle of the Ring. Catchy title, because you start off on the small shows. You're doing the high school gyms, National Guard armories. You're setting up chairs, breaking down the ring. You're working hard to get a break. You start doing better and better, and all of a sudden, boom, you're on top. You're on television. They got action figures. You're wrestling in front of 90,000 people, and then it goes full circle. You start to drop down. You're doing jobs for people. All of a sudden, the company lets you go. You're back out there doing high school gyms and National Guard armories. It's a cycle, but it's been a good cycle for me. But I have thought about it, and that's going to be the title if I get it out of me. The Cycle of the Ring.
I love it, man.
But I don't know, because I came up with a bunch of titles for the first book, and they're like, it was Triumph Books out of Chicago, and I was like Tough Life, Tough Guy, and I had all these other titles. And they're like, Hacksaw, we'll go Hacksaw, the Jim Duggan story.
Keep it straightforward.
That's a catchy title, I'll tell you.
I've heard over the years that whenever you want to market something, just tell people exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're that kid. Always introduce yourself every time on camera, man. Hey, folks, I'm Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That's exactly it.
A lot of people mistake me for Shawn Michaels back in the day,
I can see that. See that.
From about a mile, That could be him. What the hell?
His other question is, how did your TNA debut come about, and did you consider staying there longer?
Ooh, wow, that's a good question right there, man. TNA. That's when Russo was there, right? My nemesis, I guess.
Yes,
not
sir.
really. What the hell? I care less. But anyway, he was at TNA, and they brought me in. And they gave me this big, hard, involved storyline where they're going to bring me in. They're going to team me up. I forget. Maybe I can't really remember who they were going to take as a tag team, and we're going to go against Disco Inferno and some other guy. I can't remember offhand. But okay, they said, Hacksaw, we're going to bring you in. The first night you come down there, I think I was working with Disco. The other guy's going to hit the ring. They're going to work you over, handcuff you to the ring, beat the devil out of you. We're going to wheel you out in the and put you in an ambulance on the gurney and all that. I'm like, well, cool. We'll follow it up in 2 weeks. I'll come back with a 2x4. Have board will travel. Come back with a 2x4. Get Hacksaw over. So great. I went down there, and that's a big part. If you're going to do a job for somebody, do the best job you can do, and hopefully I did got beat to the devil, got handcuffed, they carried me out. Eyes were crossed, like he's going into shock. Oh my God! So, so I get back home. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, 3, 4, 5, 6. Never heard back from them. So I did the favor for those guys, and they never really brought me back.
Oh man. So do you think
No
that
big deal,
was
though. Yeah, what the hell? I told Bischoff, who I get along with now much better than I did back in the day. I said I did a job for Crush, Big Crush,
okay?
and he gave me a pile driver, and I don't like to take a pile driver. I'm an old time, and I came back, and Eric was waiting for me. He goes, Duggan, I got to tell you, that was the worst bump I've ever seen. I said, yeah, Eric, but everybody in the place is standing up going, "Oh, USA, USA," you know.
So
But
taking a pile driver, was that something like now that I'm thinking of it, I've seen a lot of your work. I don't recall seeing you take a pile driver ever.
yeah,
Like
you're not kidding, brother. You don't keep in that top rope neither. Except back in the Mid-South days, there's a reason they call them high-risk moves.
right.
And holy smokes, you get hurt doing that stuff. And of course, back in the day, you were wrestling every night. Mid-South, you were wrestling 9 times in 7 days. So yeah, you can't hurt your partner, and he can't hurt you. Like I said before, the guy's not your opponent; he's your partner.
And you were focused on protecting yourself, which is just smart business. Why do you want to put yourself in a position where somebody's going to spike you on your head?
Save your body, yeah.
Yep.
And of course, that's why I joke. I said I'm the last of the old timers with all my original body parts.
That is
Everybody
remarkable.
else has got a new knee, a new hip, a new shoulder. I'm all broke to pieces. I got that coming, but I want to stay out of the hospital for a while before I have that elective stuff going on. Shit.
Sure. That is incredible though that you haven't had anything replaced. Man, remarkable, especially after all
Well,
the years you spent taking those nasty
well, I got
bumps.
an IV of cortisone going on now.
That'll
They
help.
fill my joints up, but it works for me. A lot of guys, the shots don't work, the cortisone, but because they can't, the knee can't get any worse, so they just keep it working.
Whew, man. Well, God bless you, Jim. That's incredible. Next up, we've got Jonathan Rowe, who asks, "How did you feel when you saw your first action figure or first time in a video game?"
Yeah, the action figure was really, really cool, man. Yeah, because that was a whole new thing, wrestling action figures, and that's the old joke. Hacksaw, I've got your doll. I said, they're not dolls, they're action figures, tough guy. Of course, I have 2 daughters, so every once in a while I have a Barbie and a Hacksaw. I'd be like, oh, they ain't doing nothing, honey.
You'd have him in like the Barbie dream house with him. I like it.
Yeah, well, Ken, I beat the hell out of him. I think,
Now, what about the video game, Jim? Did you ever see yourself on the video games?
yeah, yep. I did. I'm not on a whole lot of video stuff. They didn't really. I'm not like I wouldn't say the black sheep of the company, but I'm not their favorite guy for some reason. I don't know. Like I said, the guys I got along with, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, and Piper, they're all gone. The 3 guys I didn't get along with, Austin, uh, Triple H, and Shawn. I'm like, ooh.
You know, you mentioned Shawn, and we've actually got a question coming up later in this. I'll just ask it right now. Kevin Rowan asks, "How was your experience working with Shawn Michaels? Was he as difficult to deal with as everybody says?"
Oh, I had one of my better matches with Shawn. I mean, yeah, Shawn's one of the top wrestling talents. I mean, he's one of those, Shawn, Brett, Steamboat. Those guys are great, great technical wrestlers. And Shawn, the Heartbreak Kid, the gimmick was perfect for him. And yeah, we butted heads a little bit. We no open hostility at all. But I think we did the first ever show, Monday Night Raw, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. If
Yeah.
not the first, the second, right? The 1 or 2 at the Manhattan Center there in New York, and we had a really good match. I was happy to work with him. But yeah, he remembered me when I was a top guy down in the Mid-South, and he was a young kid. And of course, by the time I came up to New York, he was Shawn Michaels, so. But no open hostility. And of course, nowadays it's good to see anybody. Holy smokes! Well, maybe not Matt Bourne. He might smell a little bit.
I would think so. Now, like you said, he remembered when you were a top guy. Like, were you rough with him or something when he was an enhancement talent, or why would he?
No, shit, no.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think I always took care of enhancement talent. Yeah, I always try to respect the guys. Except when you come in with a 2x4. You always want to get your gimmick over, man. So
Sure.
when you hit the ring, they tell you when Duggan hits the ring, everybody get out of the ring. Well, if they don't get their ass out of the ring, I'm going to 2x4 because the next time I hit the ring, everybody will scatter, right?
Right.
Except when it comes getting your gimmick over, But yeah, I try to take pride in not hurting the guy I was working with at all.
That's
I didn't
good.
have to. At this level, I always joke. I say in caps and sleeves at this level. It's supposed to look like this, but feel like this.
Yep.
You're professional.
Now,
And especially at the WWE or AEW level, you're supposed to be the best in the world. Now the kids are like, look at this pick up a hard way. I'm like, brother, it's a work.
and they're proud of it. Yeah, they call it strong style, where they're kind of coming at each other pretty hard.
Yeah, they'll have a long career. So I think I told you I did that MMA. I was a master of ceremony at MMA. And backstage is like being at a car wreck. Hey, Mr. Duggan, I won.
Are you sure?
Here's you got $200, kid. Good job, young fella.
Holy
I mean,
smokes!
I don't know. It was like when WWE did the hard way stuff, and Doc got knocked out and got hurt.
Yep.
Made all the boys look bad. I don't understand the hard style, but if it works, that's a lot with Tommy Dreamer's and company back in the day.
ECW.
What was that? Yeah, I never worked for them neither. Bob Wire and thumbtacks? No.
Yeah, that's asking a lot. Ooh, no, thank you. It's funny because you see a guy like Terry Funk. He's cut from the same cloth as you, kind of like an old school guy. But like later in his
Well, Terry's
career,
a little older than me, brother.
oh,
That's
that
maybe
is
another
true.
generation,
We
like
got to put that
Stan
out
and
there.
Brody and those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Marcus. I thought we were buddies. Yeah.
Better said, Terry Funk. He had kind of the same mindset as you when it came to his wrestling approach.
No, Terry. Yeah, Terry was hardcore. Yeah, him and Foley and those guys. Jumping off the tops of stuff. No, and even just back in the day, getting juice. That was a huge thing for me to do. Not because of the pain of getting juice, but just the idea you're desecrating your own body. Can you tell somebody that's outside the business? I have three sisters that have nothing to do with wrestling, and they're like, "You did what?" Hey, cut a razor blade. I mean, God, I tell you, no matter how hot the crowd is, I mean, and they're that back in the day, you pop that sauce, it goes to a different level. They're coming in the ring with you because that's before sports entertainment.
Yeah.
You think it's fake? Sign a waiver, come up here in the ring with us, and we'll show you if it's fake or not. So if you were a heel, the people, Ricky Morton, you're beating up Ricky, you're killing Ricky. Oh my God. They'd be coming down to help Ricky, I think I told the story. I was working with JYD in New Orleans, and I'm beating the devil out of the dog, and the security are pulling the people off the ring. Chairs are coming in the ring. The wrestling riot back in the day was no big deal. That was pretty big,
Right.
And it was almost a full blown riot. That was close. And dog's like, get some more heat on me, Hacker. I'm like, BS, brother. Make your comeback, man.
Before the fans hit the ring.
Because that's true. Because if you're beating up the heel, the fans will come. But if the heel starts winning, the fans will step back to watch.
Oh, okay.
And
I got you.
the babyface will make the comeback. I mean, yeah, get him, junkyard dog, get him, but get me, dog, get me. I was cheering with the fans.
So you start seeing the
Beat
fans.
the hell out of Duggan.
So you start seeing the fans coming closer, and you're like, "Hey, okay, all right, it's time for me to stop getting this heat."
I've had trouble with fans over the years, sure, because it's dangerous. People always joke, you see the old lady hit the guy with a cane. Unless you're the guy getting hit with a cane.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus they throw stuff at you, and they never hit you. You'd be ready to tie up with somebody, and a battery would go.
Oh my God.
Hit somebody ringside. Like a sniper got him. They go down, get a headlock. Check that out. Holy shit.
Jesus, a battery. Good Lord, that would hurt.
Yeah. Oh, they throw everything at you, man. Yeah. Yeah. Pour stuff on you. People have gotten maced. And of course, there was, excuse me. I think it was Black Jack Lanza that got stabbed real bad up in Boston, got cut real bad.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that him or Barry's dad, Barry Windham's dad.
I know that Ole Anderson got stabbed once pretty bad, and
That was by one of the boys, I think. It was in the back. Payback. That's too Brutus.
From the things I've heard, that's actually not too shocking. Bryant Haremza is up next, and actually, you just mentioned Ted. This one's about him. I have to ask about your loser leaves town tuxedo coal miner's glove on a pole steel cage match with Ted DiBiase. Is this too many?
Well, I just saw Ted this past weekend. We're up in New Jersey together. We flew into Newark, and what a great job they've done in the Newark airport. That used to be just a hole. It is really, really nice airport now. Excuse me, but we were over in Clinton, New Jersey, and so Ted was there, and so it was good to see Ted. But yeah, Ted, I wrestled Ted thousands of times all over the world, and actually Ted inducted me into the WWE Hall of Fame, which was great.
How about that?
And I put Ted over. I learned an awful lot from DiBiase because he was a second generation wrestler, and the second generation guys are just that much more polished. Jake, DiBiase, Kurt Hennig, they grew up in the business. So I learned a lot from Ted. And I always said Ted DiBiase may be one of the greatest technical wrestlers in the sport, but he can't fight a lick. And when you're in there with Hacksaw Duggan, it's a fight, tough guy. Oh!
You're getting me pumped up right now, Jim.
we had a great feud, but it finished up with, like I said, inside a steel cage, loser leave town, coal miner's glove up on top of a 10-foot steel pole, dressed in tuxedos. I think it was going to start off as a best dressed man contest. And of course, Teddy is like he's like Flair, he dresses, he always looks good. He's got the right shoes on. I got a pair of blue jeans, my shirt's untucked. It never just works for me. So of course Ted's in the tuxedo. He looks sharp, and I'm in mine. But I'm the baby face. I get the pop. So it worked all the way. And that's the way back in the day you'd work an angle, right? So it all fit together. We had the best dressed, and we had the match in the tuxedos, and we had a Fed make up with a coal miner's glove, really. But then other people get involved, so we put it inside a cage, and then of course we did the cage match. So now what are we going to do? We're going to have a loser leave town. I mean, you talk about a program.
Yeah,
That's a wrestling program thought out. Match after match, and you go to town after town. We'd come back, with the inside the cage, and then come back inside the cage. The loser leave town. I mean, Bill Watts was a really great promoter. And of course, I beat the hell out of DiBiase. He got the U-Haul and
got him out of there. Guys, a lot of that footage is online of them and their feud and that tuxedo stuff in particular. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to check it out. It's pretty easy to find on YouTube. Adam Krasnoff is up next. He asks, what are your memories of recording the USA track for the WrestleMania, the album in 1993? That was 30 years ago, Jim.
Thanks for bringing that up, brother.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know if that album, I think it went gold or something,
Had
right?
to. Had to have, yes.
Yeah. So I do a lot of charity stuff with the big time singers. I'm like, yeah, I got a gold album. What the hell? No big deal.
No big thing.
but doing the video was the hard part because they just took the interview. Hacksaw Jim Duggan beats people up, and they just cut up the interview and stuff. And the video, because I wanted to do it exactly like it was. And they're like, we'll piece it together. Don't worry about it. We're in a arena somewhere. We had to get there real early. Nobody else was in the arena to do the video, and I was really worried about doing everything just right. And they pieced it together and made it look really good. It was neat that, and it was really hot over in Europe. I think I went over to Graz, Austria, and I went into a disco back in the day. I was in the disco, and all of a sudden, my music video popped up. Holy smokes! He thought Elvis was in the building, man.
How about that? That's incredible.
That was cool. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, by the end of the night, man.
I'm sure you had some fun over there.
Yeah,
Uh,
fun around the world. Yeah, it's, I always say it's amazing the appeal of wrestling around the world. It's the NFL guys, world champions.
in the U.S. only? I don't know about
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Well, they went to we went to London. I'm like, that's like going to the West Coast. Yeah. Nobody knows Tom Brady down in Christchurch, New Zealand, but they go,
They
ho!
know Hacksaw.
Yeah, 30 different countries, man. It's crazy. I wrestled in.
Alex Perez Redondo?
Hi, Alex.
He asks, funny stories about Yokozuna or The Undertaker. You told a great one about The Undertaker last week and his devil hair.
Yeah.
What about Yoko?
Big Yoko. I had a good relationship with Yoko, and what a lot of people remember, I knocked him off his feet. I was the first guy to knock him off his feet, man.
Yes.
And what a great job he did. I said he was like a weeble wobble, but he won't go down. He'd be whoa. When the thing where they go underneath the pole,
Uh,
whatever. But limbo,
oh,
whatever.
Limbo, yeah.
Limbo, whatever. He go down. I mean, he wouldn't go off his feet. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, boom, knocked him off. What a pop we got. The place, just for him going off his feet. And of course, I'm all excited. And I think, if I remember correctly, Fuji salted me. Boom. So I go down. They're working me over pretty good. And they put, I think it was the American flag they put over me.
Yep.
And Yoko climbed up and he did did 3 or 4 bonsai drops on me. And and that's like in wrestling. Well, I saw you throw a punch. You missed the guy by that much. I'm like, yeah, you see when I hit him by that much. Yoko hit me by about that much.
Oh boy, yeah.
He squished me pretty good. He couldn't see where he was. I was under the flag. He cracked 2 of my ribs. I was hurt pretty bad.
Did he really?
But yeah, like I said, unintentional. Just one of those things that happen in the ring. But yeah, I had a great relationship with Rodney. Sure did. Actually, there's a picture circulating where there's Hogan and all of us. I put it out to Terry Taylor and the whole group where Yoko's standing over me with his hand on me. That's that European tour we did. I worked a lot with Yoko. Had a lot of great matches, and I worked with Umaga too.
That's right.
There's a giant. They're like, Duggan, get your 2x4. Come on. Oh, big giant. Hold on. Duggan. Grab your board.
That actually reminds me, you had some great vignettes coming out of that with Yokozuna, where it was after he hurt you, they were doing stuff with you and Deborah actually in your home where it was like you were interviewing and you wanted to make a comeback.
Yeah, which I think she tried to talk me out of wrestling Yoko.
Yep.
That's a joke because she was out. My first daughter Celia was about to be born. Deborah was pregnant. They came to the house, did a nice. And what a great interview! If you get a chance, Deborah did a great job, man, on that interview. But she was like trying to talk me out of wrestling Yokozuna, and and of course I wrestled Yoko and he crushed me. Then years later, WCW did a deal where they brought her on camera, and I was getting ready to wrestle Goldberg.
Yep.
And she said, "Don't wrestle Goldberg; he'll kill you, honey." Of course, Goldberg killed me. I'm like, "Honey, please don't come on camera anymore. Every time you come on, I get killed."
But,
Every time you come on, or either that, I should listen to her. That's her line. I'm trying to tell you.
You brought up Goldberg, and it makes me wonder. He has like the reputation for being really rough on the people that he faces, just because
Yeah,
not
I got
because he's
along good with
vindictive.
Bill. Yeah, I got along good with Bill.
Yeah.
And I somewhere along the line, I called him a flash in the pan, and he saw me down the road. He said, "Hey, Hacksaw, you called me a flash in the pan." I'm like, "Hey, brother." Take that as a compliment. I'd love to be and make all that big, huge bread and get the hell out of it. What the hell? I meant that as a positive, man. But yeah, I get along with Bill. Of course, haven't seen him in years, but we only worked together, I think, that one time, and he beat the hell out of me.
Didn't end great for Hacksaw.
Well, I did a good job for him, brother. Made it look good,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And plus, we're both jocks. He's a ball player.
Both played for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got along. Yeah, before we did the business, I got along with him okay.
Next up, we've got Adam Vaughn, who asks, "What is the greatest rib you remember seeing? Anything stick out in particular, Jim?"
Well, there's a few, but which ones can you tell?
All of them. We're behind the paywall.
Yeah. Okay, but they going over to Europe, I guess, right? We're all flying over to Europe, and back then, you fly all night. You get to Europe, you have to do work. You get there, it's like 7 in.the morning. They pick you up at the airport, take you right to the TV studios. You do all your PR and stuff. So we're all getting on the plane. We're back. Everybody used to fly back in the day. They used to fly as first class. Well, maybe they still do. The guy. I ended up in the back down the road, but anyway. So at first class, everybody's settled in. Just before the doors close, Flair gets on the plane. I've got a big day tomorrow in London. I don't want no horseplay on the plane. I got to get some sleep. Let's knock this shit off.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sit down, Rick. Don't believe your own press. What the hell? So Rick says everybody used to take those Halcyons, great little sleeping pills. They knock you out, 5, 6, 7 hours. You wake up fresh, no hangover. And the guys that would abuse them, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, boom, I take my Halcyon. I went to sleep. All right, we're landing at Heathrow Airport. Wake up, everybody. The flight attendant's going around. And wake up, I look down. All my fingernails were painted red. I'm like, what the hell? I look in front of me. Booker T is sitting in front of me, man. He's got like a Dairy Queen of shaving cream on his head,
Oh, no.
Flair jumps up. Half his eyebrow is shaved off. Son of a bitch. What the hell? Knobs, who did it to everybody, shaved both his own eyebrows. He goes, look, they got me too.
What a great strategy.
Oh, got me talking about stooging yourself off. Look, they got me. I mean, you couldn't sit there and work on it to get it that clean,
That is incredible.
A lot of knob stories, man. He gets hot at me because I tell his stories. He says, well, you told my story in your book. He says, you stole my story. I said, well, nobody knew who you were anyway, so...
Now, Mr. Perfect was infamous for his ribs too.
Kurt, yeah, I got a Kurt rib too. You want to hear the Kurt rib?
Oh, please, yes.
Well, okay, this was Knobs' company. Remember, they had the XWF for a little while. It was Knobs and Greg and Jimmy Hart. They had a backer anyway. We brought his kid named Dresden, German guy. Imagine that. I doubt if he's really German. What the hell, right? But anyway, we did a show in like January in Green Bay. It was snow and minus whatever degree was. And we're driving, and before we get on the interstate, we got to take a leak, So we all jump out of the car, and we pee, and we jump back in. Well, of course, the kid's taking too long. Kurt's driving. Oh, he takes off on the kid, for the rib, right? We drive around the block, we take off. Well, the kid, he takes off running after us, We come around the block, there's nobody there.
Oh, no.
We can't find him. We're driving around for about 20 minutes. Finally, you look underneath the streetlight. No jacket, no nothing.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. Kurt ribbed. That's one of his harmless ones.
Now, do you have any that were a little bit more stiff that you can reveal?
No, nothing there because I never was involved. I wasn't a ribber. I didn't like to be ribbed. That's why when Owen pulls that rib on me, and Brett tells that story at the funeral, and he said it was Jim Powers. I don't rib. I don't like to be ribbed.
That's right. You like grab
Yeah,
Jim
so
and
I don't,
scare him.
yeah, so I wasn't much of a ribber, and I know, yeah, a lot of stuff, when I first came into WWF, my first, I think it was my first television, I walked into TV, and Joey Morella, remember Joey? That was Gorilla's son. Joey
Yes.
Morella was duct taped to the floor.
That's a great first
Help me up,
impression.
will you? Get me out of this, fellas. Like, holy shit.
You're like, where the hell did I just sign on
What
with?
am I doing? Right, they had him, I think it was in Morocco, duct taped him to the floor.
Oh my god. Now, while we're on the subject of ribs, did you ever see one that you had nothing to do with, of course, but did you ever see one that was just like mean spirited? Like, what's the meanest rib that you ever saw pulled on somebody?
Uh, Canceling flights, stuff like that,
Oh,
messing with your business.
yeah.
Yeah, H Farman. It's who was the guy? Outback Jack.
Yes.
Remember him? Yeah, him and the Bulldogs. They just abused him. They halcyoned him so much he ended up in the lobby naked.
Oh no.
Uh, yeah, they there were a lot of mean. Of course, the most famous mean spirited rib is Fuji
What did
and
he do?
his next door neighbor's dog.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about
Yeah,
that story.
they had it for dinner.
Yikes. That's taking a rib just a little too far.
That's not a rib.
No.
Yeah, canceling flights is not a rib. You know what Owen did to me? That's a rib. You know, something funny and you laugh about. Like I said, there's a lot of mean spirited things that people say is rib, and then there's a lot of things called ribbing on the square. You know, where you really mean it. It's I'm really joking. You know,
Oh, I
like Boss
gotcha.
Man. Boss Man used to go, did I say something wrong? I didn't know. Yeah.
Was that really Boss Man's
Yeah,
thing?
well, when Vince brought me back, you know, after me and the Sheik got popped, and Vince brought me back, and Boss Man's like, well, you know, Vince said Duggan and Sheik were in the dressing room. He's like, Duggan and Sheik weren't coming back, and there's Duggan sitting right over there. I'm like, Boss Man, can I talk to you in the shower? What the fuck? Why? What happened? I say something wrong?
Oh my god.
Yeah, dumb like a fox, you know.
Did you wind up having a good relationship with Boss Man though? You guys got along in general?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got along, but like I said, very few guys that I not get along with.
And actually, we've got a question coming up about that, so it's perfect timing, Jim. James Freeman asks, aside from Matt Bourne, was there anyone in wrestling you absolutely could not stand?
Bob Sweetan, that's going way back. Sweetan was not a good man.
Mm-hmm.
There's some real bad degenerates. Buck Roby was a sick puppy, but I didn't hate him or anything. I mean, yeah, just Sweetan was probably Sweetan.
I've heard some really awful things about Sweet Tan in his personal life and what a
Well,
terrible
I
guy he
think
was.
I know I told you that story when I got popped in Corpus Christi. I had to spend the night in jail, and he took my car and drove home.
Yep.
I get out of jail. I'm like, "Where's my car? What the hell?" Oh, it's back in San Antonio. But
Now,
Southwest has got a flight.
I bet you're ready to kill Sweet Tan whenever you caught up with him.
Oh, yeah, well, after just getting out of jail, are you kidding?
Now, you said Buck Robley was a little off the rails. What was going on with him?
Buck was just a real strange guy, man. But Buck and Bruiser Brody were the ones who put the hacksaw gimmick on me. I was working in Pensacola for the Fullers, and I had a 500 a week guarantee, you know. And I was Wild Man Duggan. You see, sometimes I got a fur with chains on it.
Yeah.
Some picture, Wild Man Duggan, and at 500 a week. You get it was from the Fuller, so they were your payoff guys. So you get a bag of weed, a gram of coke, and $300 or any combination of whatever you wanted, you know. Yeah. So it was a great place, and I was living on the beach. Butch and Luke were living there. Joe LeDuc. I had a hot little stripper living with me. Things were good. I mean, it was great.
Sounds
And
fun.
Buck Roby called me from San Antonio. And he's like, Hacksaw, we got a hell of a spot for you here on top in San Antonio with Bruiser Brody. And I'm like, well, things are going pretty good here, Buck. Thanks a lot.
Who would want to leave
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Next day, Brody called me, Duncan, get your ass out here. Learn how to work. So I went to, I met him at Georgia Championship Wrestling. So I went to San Antonio for Joe Blanchard and worked with Brody on top my first night. And that's at the Sam Houston Coliseum. Paul Bosch, what a great guy he was. But they gave him my envelope. So I went in the bathroom and I opened up my envelope. It was $1,000. I was like, "Ooh, I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to." Packed up my U-Haul and made the move, and that's where I became Hacksaw. And then when I went to Mid South from San Antonio, that's where I got my break.
Now, when you're jumping from a territory to another territory like that, I mean, you said you were living with the Bushwhackers and a young lady, a dancer at the time. Like,
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah, answer.
a polite way to put it?
She was studying in school.
There you go. That's what they all say.
You could wait for her out back.
I mean, did you have like a lease or anything that you had to break to get out
No,
of
we
that?
stay in these weekly hotels, motels, man. Yeah, I mean,
I got
yeah,
you.
weeks. Are you kidding? It'd be some rough joints. Are you kidding, man? To be pimps and prostitutes and the boys.
I mean, when you're talking to like your father or your mom and they're like, "Hey, so what's going on, Jim? How's your life?" Are you saying like, "Oh, well, I live in this hotel with these guys," and it's like, or
Yeah, yeah.
how
Well,
does
no,
that
I
go?
think I keep getting my dad was chief of police. God bless him, man.
Right.
He was my best man at my wedding, best man I ever met. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, when I first came home, my family is extremely conservative. Like I said, I'm the youngest. I have three older sisters. So I came home as Hacksaw. They cried.
Really?
Yeah, what happened to you, Jimmy? What's happening? And I'm trying to make a living. There's Big Jim Duggan with the short hair and the mustache and the red and black trunks, gold bathrobe. That wasn't working.
That's a different Jim Duggan than they were used to seeing up there in Glens Falls, and you're about to
Glens
change a
Falls,
little bit.
yeah. One of the few times I was aware of my appearance. So when my dad, God bless him, was battling cancer, and he was extremely well known in New York, and all these chiefs from all the other cities were in the hospital to see my pop. And this was before I was working Mid South. Nobody knew who I was, unless you were a hardcore wrestling fan in Glens Falls, New York. You didn't know. Louisiana, shit, I couldn't do no wrong. But I show up at the Glens Falls Hospital, long hair and a beard, 300 pounds. They're like, that's Jim Duggan's boy. That's one of the few times I was aware of my appearance. And my dad was a straight cat. My dad was, yeah, he was the straight as could be.
Sounds like a hell of a man.
Yeah, he was, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of fun with Jake. Yeah, him and Jake was here at my wedding. Jake was one of the ushers. My pop was my best man. We one man gang was here. Magnum TA.
wow.
This little town, Lugoff, South Carolina. Are you kidding?
And the little factoid that you actually told me not long ago was that your singer there was Lillian Garcia, who go on to be in the WWE
Lillian
years later.
Garcia was I can't say, never would know the name of the band, but anyway, yeah, when I came back to WWE, and had not as a talent, I didn't know Lillian. I didn't watch the show at all, and she came up. She goes, I sang at your wedding. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. And she goes, no, I'm from Lugoffka, yeah, and I think she's from Columbia. And they had a great little band. She was the lead singer. And yeah, we did the Congo line and the whole bit. We had a great wedding, man. Yeah, we had a
Absolutely
lot of fun,
incredible.
and she did a good job. And what a singer she is! Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're friends to this day. I mean, when we see her, especially Deborah and her.
I mean, what are the odds that, your wedding singer would go on to be an announcer for the WWE? Just amazing.
WW, no kidding. Yeah, yeah.
Next up, we've got Johnny Corbett, who asks, "What do you think of Mick Foley and his working style?"
I respect Mick a lot. And he just what a way to get into the business, right? He jumped off a roof or something, and just sacrificed his body and set the whole for everybody. If you're going to be hardcore, you're going to have to be like Mick Foley or Terry Funk. I mean, they set the level for that. And but also what he did, which I'm he does a lot of charity work, gives a lot of money back to these community. But the way he went ahead and evolved into doing the stand-up show that he does, and he's done the stand-up show all over the world probably, and which enabled a lot of other guys to do stand-up shows. I know Jake and I were out in L.A. and Mick was doing this was in the early days, and Mick was doing a stand-up, and he invited us to come down on stage. And we went down, we watched Mick's show, and we're like, hey, I think I can do one of these. And Jake, of course, he does a whole bunch of stuff, but I've done them in 6 different countries. I've done my stand-up show, and Mick opened that door for a lot of guys. I think Piper had it a little bit, but Mick took it to a whole nother level. And then, of course, Dolph Ziggler, of course, took it, But and now Godfather's doing it.
Wow.
Big Taker, he does them now. I mean, it's a whole new trend, and it's great. And Foley opened that door.
Do you see yourself doing more stand-up stuff in the future, Jim?
Yeah, I enjoy them. Yeah, it's 90 minutes, standing there talking, or 10 minutes in the ring.
Well, yeah.
Who's going to get in the ring? Are you kidding? Holy shit! No, I enjoy the stand-ups. I like the Comic-Cons more. I joke, if you've never been to a Comic-Con, you got to check them out. They have something for everybody. I mean, you would think they have old school wrestlers at Comic-Cons, right? And then you see like movie quality costumes, and then a kid with a box on his head, But everybody's having fun. I mean, I joke, you're at the New York City Comic-Con, it's jam-packed, and somebody will bump into you, you go, excuse me. Wait, I'm in New York. What do you mean, excuse me? I mean, yeah, everybody's friendly. Had a lot of fun at Comic-Cons. Amazing. I was up with up here in Alaska. I was up with Tom Arnold. He was next to me, and you get to meet all these movie stars, these TV celebrities. I know back in the day, I wouldn't have. I'm like, Henry Winkler. He's like, Hacksaw Duggan. I'm like,
he knew you. That's incredible.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, sure. So most everybody would watch. I mean, like I said, you only have 3 channels, so a lot of people know who you are. Man.
I have to ask Jim, at these Comic-Cons, did anybody ever come up to you dressed as you?
Not much of a costume. You see a lot of Macho Mans because Macho had such an elaborate costume.
Yep.
A lot of Hulksters with the bows and stuff. I wear trunks and short shorts and boots. I know you try to get in a Comic-Con like that.
Yeah.
What the hell? Oh,
Yeah, they might turn you away.
See a lot of that too, though. I don't know. Yeah, but no. Yeah, I joke. The kids come up and they go, "Is Hacksaw here?" Bastard. It took a while, Marcus. There you go, buddy.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, how about that Neanderthal thing?
Oh my gosh, that made me laugh so hard.
Oh, shit. I looked over at Deborah and said, "You're married to a Neanderthal." She goes, "That's great."
I mean, not just the hair and the beard, like the nose and eyes. It's like that kind of looks just.
Yeah, go back in the day, I used to throw over my shoulder anyway. She loved it. Yeah. Forget the pretty boy stuff. She could hang around all the pretty boys in the world. She'd be talking to Doc. I'd be like, "Hey,
Doc, he looked like a Sasquatch too. Whenever he had like his full hair and beard going."
Yeah, Doc. Yeah. He could take that down. Doc and a lot of people, except he had jet black hair.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was shorter and stockier.
We'll do a couple more and then I'll let you go, Jim. Matt S asks, why does Jim think the Hogan Flair feud in the WWF failed to do business that many thought it would? So if you remember, Jim, it was kind of looking like those two were going to go at it. And then all of a sudden it's WrestleMania shows up and Hogan is paired off with Sid and Flair is working with Savage. And it was kind of like a big letdown for fans.
Yeah, funny. I think I just sent you that T-shirt.
Yep, I was gonna mention that. So we're gonna it's actually, guys, as we're talking, you can get on eBay right now. Go to Jim's social media and you'll see a link for it. Jim is selling a t-shirt and a hat from WrestleMania 8, and they are both original. So I mean, think about how difficult that would be to find nowadays. Original shirt and original hat owned by Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and it can be yours. It's on eBay right now.
Yeah, it's amazing how many folks enjoy all those. Not the vintage T-shirts.
Yep. Just
Yeah, a whole market for that stuff, and I found a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, and that I remember Indianapolis, man. Well, yeah, I think that was a little disappointment. I think the fans were looking for Flair, Hogan, but Flair Macho's not bad. Flair, Hogan, Sid. I don't know how Sid got in there, man. That's but I'm sure the fans were disappointed. Me, I didn't really care one way or the other. I was going to get my payoff. Wasn't going to be affected by those guys, and so they did their deal. But I could see where the fans were disappointed, and they didn't really do the business I think people were expecting.
Sid is one of those guys too that probably not quite as like toxic in the locker room as somebody like maybe the Ultimate Warrior was considered, but he's one of those guys that's kind of a controversial figure in wrestling. I mean, did you always get along with Sid?
Yeah, the little bit we communicated. Yeah, Sid and I. That's one of those things. You have a few friends, a lot of acquaintances, and a couple of enemies. And Sid and I, he'd be in the dressing room. They said, "Hey, Hacksaw," we wouldn't hang together or nothing like that. But what a guy! Sid was a monster of a guy. He was a big man.
Man, just an incredible look. He's kind of like the prototype for a wrestler. It's tall,
Yeah,
jacked. Yeah,
yeah.
just
He's got that marquee look. He's handsome, a lot of white teeth, big blonde hair. I mean, he would be, but I guess he was really unreliable. He loved the way I understood it. Now I don't know the firsthand, but he enjoyed softball. I guess he really enjoyed playing softball,
yep.
and sometimes softball would take precedence over wrestling. So the promoter, you couldn't really count on him if there's a big softball game or something, like rumor has it.
I mean, just an incredible thought. Softball is just like it's a extracurricular activity where I come from, so I can't imagine saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna blow off this thing that pays me a lot of money so I can go play
Yeah.
softball." Just
Well, I think, yeah. I think, yeah, he probably made enough money where he could probably say, "Yeah, what the hell? I'll play softball."
yeah. Hey,
How much do you need? Some guys, like they're working all the time. How much? You can't take it with you.
hey, good for him. A lot of people hate on him because of that, but it's like, look, if he's doing what he
Mm.
enjoys doing, who can fault him?
Yeah, yeah, yep. And he
Uh,
was a talent. Obviously, I mean, that would have been. I don't know how that match was, but I'm sure to have him and Hogan, you got two monster guys in the ring. I mean, it looks good on paper anyway. And then Macho and Flair, two flamboyant guys underneath it. Looked like a good card.
did you see where Ric Flair is now part of AEW? He signed a contract with them for a couple of years.
No, I didn't see that. That's optimistic.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Yeah, a couple of years. Holy, I like to sign something for a couple of years. It's been going like this for me. One, two, 2 years. I'm like, shit, that'll work. Yeah. But good for Rick. Rick's Ric Flair. Rick and Hogan are on a whole different level.
All right, one more, Jim, and I'll let you go. Eric Sidon, I think is how you say it, asks any good Bruce Prichard stories. I know you guys were running in different circles for the most part when you were together in Mid
Right.
South, but any memories with Bruce kind of stick out for you?
Yeah, a few of them. Bruce, when obviously he was working down there at Houston Wrestling, and he would get coffee for the guys. So there's a guy that loved the business and worked hard. I compare him a lot to DDP. Somebody that loved the business, worked hard, was tenacious, and kept hanging on no matter what. But yeah, the little bit I had to do, I used to leave my car at Bruce's apartment when I went to Japan back in the day when I was working in San Antonio. And somebody was stealing my tires one night off my car. And Bruce caught him, called the cops, and the cops caught him and all that. So that's my one story about Bruce. And then, of course, he did the Brother Love deal. And then I did a couple interviews, I think, with Brother Love. And he made that work. I mean, that was. I love you. He had some heat.
Got to give it up. A talented guy, not just in front of the camera, but behind the scenes. And yeah, I think that you guys did.
Behind and able to stick around. The ability to hang around the company is extremely. Lombardi got a lot of heat, but he hung around for a long time. I mean, it's hard to stick there for that length of time. Michael Hayes, another guy that's been up there. It's of course if we can get your family life, you can. You can. It's a full-time job. It's a lifestyle. It's not really a job, and especially on the management level. If you're a producer or something, yeah. Vince calls you all the time. It's yeah.
Yeah, that does not sound like a life for
That's chaos.
everybody.
No, a lot of people have the physical attributes and are good wrestlers and can talk on the microphone and have all the talent that you need to be a great wrestler, but can't handle the road.
Yeah,
You're away from your wife, you're away from your kids. Some people can't handle that.
man.
And it's a big sacrifice. It's a big sacrifice.
It is, and incredible. I mean, you were in wrestling. I mean, you're still on the road here and there. You get to take Deborah with you now, but it's like, man, you've been at it for a hell of a long time. So it's incredible, like what you and your family had to deal with to get where you are. So it's a lot of
Yeah,
sacrifice.
it's like coming up with Thanksgiving. It's not the date on the calendar. This year it just works out because the girls are coming home. It's when we're all together. It could be December 1st. We have our Thanksgiving. It's when we're all together. This year it just happens to work out. We're all going to be together on Thanksgiving. So birthdays the same way. Christmas, because back in the day, I've been in the ring during New Year's Eve. I mean, all the time. Back in the day, you'd work constantly. That's before contracts. Now the kids got contracts, thank goodness, and much better for everybody.
Absolutely. And speaking of Thanksgiving, we'll be back the week after Thanksgiving with another episode of the Hacksaw Hour. This one is in the books. And man, it was an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you here again, Jim. And by the way, I want to remind our listeners that if they can't make it to WrestleCade, but they still want a Hacksaw autograph on a 2x4 or an 8x10, you guys have got to get over to hacksawjimdugganshop.com. Jim's got all kinds of merchandise going on there. So it's the next best option if you can't see Jim in person. Or you can get a cameo from cameo.com/hacksaw Jim Duggan. And Jim can give you a nice message or, send a message to somebody for the holiday season for you. Right, Jim?
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
And we hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll catch you next time right here on the Hacksaw Hour.
Here we go, Marcus, baby.
Here we go.
Ho!
Ho! We'll see you guys next time.